This is Voices in the Stone, Episode 3. Before the castle cast its shadow across the valley, before lords argued over land and kings over loyalty, before war learned the names of these hills, there were footsteps here in the dark. Not the sound of armor, not the weight of soldiers, but bare feet on cold stone. Men waking while the world still slept. Men who owned nothing and believed they were rich. Men who left no portraits, but carved their lives into ours. Listen carefully. Even now, the valley remembers the sound of them rising. This is not the story of conquest, not of rebellion, not of crowns or banners. It is the story of men who disappeared on purpose. Men who believed that silence itself could be a form of devotion. This is how they lived. The day at Dudley Priory did not begin with sunlight. It began in darkness. Somewhere between midnight and dawn, a bell would sound. Not loud, not commanding, just enough. Enough to stir sleep into awareness. Enough to draw men from dreams into duty. This was Matins, the first prayer of the day. Monks rose from narrow wooden beds, from straw mattresses that held the cold of stone beneath them. They dressed in silence, rough wool habits, leather belts, cowls pulled low over shaved crowns. The tonsure, a ring of bare skin, marked them as belonging to God before belonging to themselves. No talking. Speech was rationed like food. They walked cloisters shaped by darkness, past pillars still wet with night air, into a church lit by candles no wider than fingers. And there they stood, not as individuals, but as one body, a choir shaped from breath. Latin words memorized until meaning became muscle. Domine, labia mea aperies. Lord, open my lips. Prayer before language, obedience before thought. This rhythm would repeat again and again and again, 8 times a day, until death. The monks of Dudley were not born monks. They arrived. Some were second sons, inheritance already promised to elder brothers. Some were scholars, drawn by books. Some were men running from debts, or failed marriages, or violence. Some were boys, offered by families seeking God's favor. The priory was Benedictine, not hermits in caves. Monks who lived together, prayed together, and served the world beyond their walls. They held land, collected rents, settled disputes, blessed fields, buried the dead. They were not outside society. They were woven into it. And Dudley Priory sat in a dangerous place to be woven, beneath a castle, beneath power. Their lives were measured not by years, but by bells. After Matins came lauds, welcoming the approach of morning. Then prime, as the sun lifted, terce, mid-morning, sext at noon, none, mid-afternoon, vespers, as light faded, and compline before sleep. 8 interruptions, 8 reminders that their time did not belong to them. A monk could be harvesting grain, and the bell would call. He would stop, leave the field unfinished, walk back, kneel, sing. Time itself bent around prayer. Their bodies were not celebrated. They were disciplined. Food was plain: bread, pottage, onions, beans, fish on feast days, meat rarely, wine watered down, fasting common, sleep short. cold, constant. They owned nothing, not even their clothes. Everything belonged to the priory. And when the body weakened, when joints stiffened, when teeth rotted, that too was prayer. Pain was a language God understood. Winter was hardest. Water froze in pitchers, ink thickened, fields slept. Inside the dormitory, breath hung like smoke. Monks rose in darkness to darkness, fingers numb around prayer beads. Summer brought insects, rot, disease, and always labor, always repetition. A life made not of moments, but of endurance. After prayer came labor. Some monks copied manuscripts. Their world narrowed to lines of ink. Mistakes scraped away with knives. Eyes burned from candle smoke. They copied scripture, charters, legal records binding land to lords like Paganel, and later the summary family. Ink made power permanent. Others worked the land, digging ditches, repairing walls, tending sheep, brewing ale safer to drink than water. The priory was a living organism. Fields fed monks. Monks fed villagers. Villagers paid rents. Rents fed the priory. And the castle watched all of it. Travelers arrived. Pilgrims limping from distant shrines. Merchants robbed on roads. Widows with children. Men burned by war. The priory offered bread, a place by the fire, sometimes a bed. Charity was not kindness. It was obligation. To refuse was sin. Not all who entered stayed. A novice spent a year in testing, learning silence, learning obedience, learning how to erase himself. Some fled, some begged to leave. Some were refused vows, judged too restless, too proud, too alive. Those who remained knelt before the altar, promised poverty, chastity, obedience, and received a new name, the old self buried while still breathing. Medieval texts reveal something unexpected. Not certainty, but fear. Fear of hell, fear of impurity, fear that prayer was not enough. At night, after Compline, silence ruled. Speech forbidden, lights low. Some monks lay awake, staring into dark beams above, hearing their own hearts, remembering women, children, violence, lives abandoned. Faith was not peace. It was labor of the mind. Then came disease. The Black Death reached England in waves, not once, but again and again. Brothers coughed blood into wool sleeves, bodies weakened in days. Prayers multiplied, but death ignored them. Graves filled, fields lay untended. Some priors locked gates, others opened them. Either choice carried guilt. When monks died, others took their place, until sometimes no one remained to ring the bell. Despite vows of poverty, the priory was wealthy in land, and wealth attracted danger. Lords disputed boundaries, kings taxed monasteries, popes demanded loyalty. A lord's favor meant protection. His anger meant starvation. And Dudley Priory stood under stone walls that could shelter or crush. Imagine one of them. No name survives, only habit. He rises from Matins one final time, kneels, sings, returns to his bed before dawn. A cough, a tightening chest. By noon he cannot stand. Brothers gather. Oil is placed on his forehead. Prayers spoken softly. He exhales and does not inhale again. No tomb, no statue, only earth, wooden marker, rain. They believed remembrance was dangerous. Pride threatened salvation. Only God was meant to remember. They could not imagine what was coming. That one king would decide monasteries were obstacles. That ink would become a weapon. That vows would be cancelled by law. Altars dismantled. Libraries burned. Fields sold. Stone reused. That prayer would be priced and found unprofitable. They believed their rhythm was eternal. They were wrong. Today, only fragments remain. Broken arches, a doorway opening into sky, stone softened by centuries of rain. Children play nearby. Cars pass. Industry hums in the distance. But come here before sunrise, when the valley still holds night, when the castle is only a shadow, and the world has not yet begun to speak. You can almost hear them, not words, not songs, but movement, lives measured in bells, in breath, in discipline so complete it vanished into the ground. They did not conquer. They did not rule. They did not carve their faces into history. They carved time. And stone remembers time. Next, power returns to the foreground. Through blood tells, through armor, through tombs larger than any prayer. The summary dynasty, knights, inheritance, the machinery of wealth, and the long shadow cast over this valley by those who ruled above it. But beneath it all, the older memory remains, of men who woke before dawn and believed that silence itself could change the world. This has been Voices in the Stone.